Looking for something warm, filling, and comforting that also happens to be packed with protein and fiber? That was exactly what I needed during the colder months, and that is how this stoup came to be. Hi, friend, come on in. What started as a simple idea for a budget friendly pot of food turned into a recipe that is hearty enough for dinner and still light enough to fit into a healthier start to the year. It is simple, filling, and you can easily skip the meat entirely if you prefer a plant forward version. I never have a long list of uses for ground pork, but when I saw some marked down at the store, I picked it up anyway. Meat prices are what they are, and clearance finds are one of the best ways to stay flexible in the kitchen. Buying something I do not usually reach for gives me an excuse to try something new, and this pork and lentil stoup was the result. In a large skillet or stock pot, add a tablespoon of oil or fat. I am using some garlic oil from my garlic confit because pork can be quite lean and will stick to the pan without help. Fat carries flavor, gives a smoother mouthfeel, and in this case adds a subtle garlic note that works well with the lentils. I am using 1 pound of ground pork from the clearance section, and I like to brown the meat well on one side before breaking it apart. Browning builds flavor and helps the meat hold up during the long simmer that the lentils need. Keep an eye on the fat in your pan. Add a little more if the bottom looks dry. While the meat browns, chop your vegetables. I am using carrots and onion today, but use whatever you have. This recipe works well with carrots, onions, celery, garlic, mushrooms, leeks, sweet potato, or even cabbage. I am doing a fine dice so everything ends up a similar size, but you can play with texture. Slice onions into strips for a noodle-like feel. Shave carrots into ribbons, or spiralize vegetables. Just add delicate pieces closer to the end so they do not break down. Once the pork is cooked on both sides, break it into smaller pieces and make sure you have enough fat in the pan to coat your vegetables. I needed another tablespoon. Add the vegetables that take longer to cook first. Root vegetables, onions, celery, and mushrooms all go in now. Leeks, cabbage, and garlic can follow once the first group has softened. I used about 2 cups of vegetables, and it gave the stoup a satisfying balance between hearty and brothy. After the vegetables have softened, season the pot with salt, pepper, minced garlic flakes, onion powder, and smoked paprika. I am using about 1 teaspoon of each and will adjust the flavor once it has simmered. Add 1 can of diced tomatoes and about 3 cups of chicken stock. I am using homemade concentrated stock paste mixed with water. If you want your stoup thicker and richer, add 4 ounces of tomato paste first and let it caramelize for a minute or two before adding the tomatoes and stock. Drop in a couple of bay leaves and 1½ cups of dried lentils. Stir everything together. The type of lentils you choose matters. Whole lentils with their outer skins hold their shape during a long simmer. Split or peeled lentils break down and create a creamier, thicker base similar to split pea soup. Choose the variety that gives you the texture you prefer. Give everything a good stir and bring it to a gentle boil before reducing the heat to a steady simmer. I like to place a lid on the pot at an angle to allow some steam to escape. You can thin the stoup later with more stock or water if needed. Let the pot simmer until the lentils are completely tender. If you want to add whole grains like barley or wheat berries, this is the perfect time. They add a nutty, chewy texture and act as a budget-friendly way to stretch the meat or replace it entirely. The cooking time depends on the age and type of your lentils. Older lentils will take longer. Mine were a bit old and needed about an hour. Once the lentils and grains are tender, taste and adjust the seasoning. Mine needed a little more salt. Add more smoked paprika for a deeper flavor or a pinch of cayenne or chili powder for heat. Now adjust the final thickness. add more liquid for a soup, or continue simmering for a thicker stew. I prefer a thick soup that feels hearty without being heavy. Enjoy it with a drizzle of chili oil, or you can serve it over pasta or rice to stretch it further, or with potatoes for a stew-style meal. It is a flexible recipe that works with whatever you have on hand. If you are looking for another soup or stew-like meal but with a bit more heat, check out my chili recipe. For more pantry-friendly meals, I also have a playlist full of simple ideas to keep you cooking through the winter.